This is a tale of the Vikings, who possibly volcanic eruptions, disrupted harvests, forcing drastic changes. Evidence suggests a climate crisis led to agricultural decline, with lands reverting to forests. Archaeological findings reveal violence and destruction, with settlements attacked and unburied bodies left behind. By 580, over 1 million lived in Scandinavia, but climate turmoil claimed hundreds of thousands. Power struggles ensued as landowners seized territory, transforming societal hierarchies. The aftermath saw a more stratified society, where land ownership dictated power, intensifying class differences and dependency. As the dust settled, population growth resumed, but the landscape had changed. The Vikings emerged from this turmoil, ready to sail forth, forever altering the course of history. Join the journey to uncover the true story of the Vikings and their profound impact on the world. In subsistence societies, survival hinges on agricultural practices and household production. As communities strive to meet their daily needs, the emergence of powerful leaders becomes crucial, especially as militarization rises. Warfare permeates material culture, evident in ornate boat burials in places like Valoda and Sweden, showcasing a militarized aristocracy engaged in smaller-scale conflicts. Women play a vital role as craft specialists, particularly in textile production. Their skills range from creating everyday clothing to travel garments, essential for both daily life and warfare. Young children, seen as small adults, learn agricultural tasks and craft production, with higher-status children receiving training in warfare, preparing them for future conflicts. As climate crises reshape society, the sea's significance grows. Scandinavians seek better lives through long-distance travel, necessitating advanced ships. While familiar with shipbuilding, they innovate sailing vessels tailored to their needs, allowing small crews to navigate effectively. Though men construct the ships, women contribute significantly, spinning and weaving wool for sails, demonstrating their integral role in maritime exploration. This collaboration between genders not only supports survival but also fosters a resilient community, ready to face the challenges of their time. The Viking Age stands as a testament to their ingenuity, adaptability, and the enduring spirit of both men and women in shaping their world. In the heart of ancient societies, a remarkable transformation took place. Years of dedicated labor culminated in the creation of vessels, far surpassing mere subsistence needs. After months of toil, these ships were ready, and the excitement of new expeditions filled the air. But a ship requires more than just craftsmanship, it needs a crew. Who would embark on these daring raids? The answer is complex. While aristocrats, eager to showcase their martial prowess, likely led the charge, they didn't sail alone. Imagine local farmers, their hands calloused from toil, stepping away from their fields to join these ventures. These part-time Vikings, driven by the promise of status and wealth, found a chance to break free from their daily grind. During the early Viking Age, these expeditions were community-driven, with small groups and modest ships targeting vulnerable settlements. The thrill of adventure beckoned, and with their newly crafted vessels, the Scandinavians set sail across the seas, ready to carve their names into history. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the call of the ocean resonated, and a new era of exploration and conquest began. In the quest for fortune and a better life, monks remain blissfully unaware of the approaching Viking raiders. These skilled sailors, with their swift longships, are about to disrupt the peaceful shores. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle offers little insight into this period, leading many to believe there was a lull in Viking activity after initial raids. However, recent research reveals a different story. Charters from the southeast of England indicate that even in the late 790s, aristocrats and monasteries were preparing for encounters with these so-called pagans. They were tasked with fortifying defenses, constructing bridges, and engaging Viking raiders in the field. Surprisingly, this preparation is largely absent from the historical record, suggesting a whitewashing of events. It wasn't until the mid-9th century that Viking raids surged again. Often labeled as violent pirates, the Vikings instilled fear along Europe's coasts. But is pirate an accurate term? Contemporary sources depict Viking raiders as brutal and unsophisticated, burning monasteries and slaying monks. Yet, such overseas raids required significant organization of resources and manpower. While the term piracy fits the early Viking raids, it doesn't capture their societal context. In Scandinavia, these actions were not seen as lawless, they were part of a broader strategy. What emerges is a picture of opportunistic raiding, where groups operated independently, seeking plunder without a cohesive strategy. These seasonal raids were well planned, reflecting a complex model of seaborne aggression. The Vikings were not just mindless pillagers, they were skilled navigators and tacticians, reshaping the landscape of Europe through their daring exploits. In the late 9th century, Viking groups operated like modern-day pirate crews, ranging from single ships to larger fleets. They united for plunder, then split to chase wealth elsewhere. Early Viking raids on the Frankish Empire met fierce resistance from Charlemagne, who refused to surrender his lands to pagan invaders. A climate crisis in the 6th century transformed Scandinavia, pushing Vikings to seek new targets, particularly monasteries. As they advanced into Francia, violent conflict erupted between pagan Vikings and Christian Franks. Charlemagne fortified defenses, initially holding back the raiders. However, tumultuous events in Denmark and Francia eventually allowed Vikings to penetrate deeper, threatening cities like Paris. Charlemagne, a pivotal figure in medieval history, expanded his empire into southern Scandinavia, seeking to convert pagans to Christianity, often through brutal means. This created a perception of a need for a Viking response, framing their raids as a form of pagan crusade. Despite their notorious reputation, early Viking attacks were largely unsuccessful against Charlemagne's defenses. The emperor's commitment to Christianity meant he would not tolerate paganism in his realm. He launched military campaigns against the Saxons, aiming to convert them by force, mirroring the beliefs of the Vikings. In 772, Charlemagne struck back against the Saxons, seeking revenge and conversion. His biographer, Einhard, noted the last war against the Danes, who had become infamous for their piracy. Charlemagne implemented coastal defenses, constructing ships and establishing a coast guard to deter Viking incursions. The Viking Age was marked by a complex interplay of social, political, and ideological factors, shaping the dynamics between these formidable raiders and the Christian kingdoms of Europe. In the early 9th century, Viking raids threatened the Frankish coast, but the Frankish coast guard successfully repelled them. Charlemagne, determined to protect his realm from these plundering pagans, faced setbacks as some Viking chiefs abandoned Francia for easier targets. King Godfred of Denmark chose this path, while his brother Halon allied with Charlemagne, becoming a Danish envoy. For a time, it seemed Viking attacks had ceased. However, the Vikings gained notoriety as ruthless pirates, expanding trade routes beyond Scandinavia. This surge in commerce transformed trading posts into vital political centers, increasing their strategic importance. In 888, conflict reignited when Godfred attacked the prosperous trading post of Rake. His reign marked an era of consolidation, as he sought to strengthen his power amid rising tensions with the Carolingians. Godfred's control over trade and resources sent a clear message: he was a formidable force in the North Sea and Baltic trade networks. Archaeological evidence suggests Godfred reinforced the Danelaw Long M, a monumental earthwork in southern Jutland, showcasing his extensive influence. This era illustrated a shift towards centralized power, with Godfred's reign symbolizing the growing complexity of Viking society and its impact on European politics. In a world where political power shapes destinies, Charlemagne stands as a formidable force. His ability to rally subordinates and the general populace underpins his reign. The sacking of Rarick by the Danish king ignites tensions, a blatant provocation that leads to failed peace negotiations. In response, Charlemagne establishes a permanent garrison north of the Elbe River, preparing for retaliation. The Danish king, undeterred, launches a massive raid on the Fishon coastline with hundreds of ships. Just as Charlemagne readies his forces, news arrives: Godfred, the Danish king, has been assassinated by his own bodyguard. Godfred's death in 810 plunges Denmark into chaos, igniting a fierce power struggle among the Danish elite. Yet, this internal strife pales in comparison to the turmoil that follows the death of Charlemagne in 814. After 46 years of rule, he leaves behind a robust Christian empire, well prepared to confront Viking threats. But what happens when this stalwart leader is gone? The perfect storm brews for Viking raiders, emboldened by the absence of a strong central authority. They begin to not only raid coastal settlements but also penetrate deeper inland, wreaking havoc across the land. Despite the Carolingians' well-developed defensive systems, designed to counter such attacks, the historical record reveals a different story. The once secure borders of Charlemagne's empire become vulnerable, as Viking groups exploit the chaos left in the wake of his death. The era of Charlemagne, marked by strength and unity, gives way to a time of uncertainty and conflict, reshaping the landscape of Europe. The Viking Age dawns, fueled by the power struggles and political vacuum left behind, forever altering the course of history. As the echoes of Charlemagne's reign fade, the world watches, waiting to see how this new chapter unfolds. In a time of turmoil, the Franks faced a dual challenge, mastering vast armies while grappling with internal strife. The civil war consumed their focus, leaving them vulnerable. Meanwhile, the Vikings seized the opportunity, pushing past defenses and sailing up great rivers in search of gold and glory. These Norsemen advanced deeper into the Frankish Empire than ever before, not as a unified force but as small groups with individual goals. Their actions weren't a concerted effort to extort wealth from the Carolingians. Rather, they operated on personal ambitions, each pursuing their own interests. In March 845, a formidable Danish Viking fleet, boasting 120 ships, sailed up the Seine toward Paris. King Charles the Bald attempted to repel the invaders with his army but faced defeat. Paris, fortified with high Roman walls and several churches, seemed secure. Yet, the Vikings laid siege, targeting the city's two bridges guarded by towering stone structures. Ultimately, Charles was forced to pay a hefty ransom of gold and silver to save his city from destruction. This event marked a turning point, as more Norsemen ventured from Scandinavia, not just warriors but families seeking new lives. The journey was often long and perilous, filled with hopes of wealth and new beginnings. As the Viking Age unfolded, the dynamics of power shifted, revealing the complexities of ambition, survival, and the relentless pursuit of glory. The Franks, caught in their struggles, learned that the tides of fate could change swiftly, driven by the ambitions of those who dared to sail into the unknown. The Frankish Civil War opens a unique chapter for the Vikings, allowing them to extend their stay in Francia and England. Amidst the chaos, they seize the opportunity to establish winter camps, navigating the harsh realities of life in exile. Historical sources provide limited insights into their encampments, yet recent archaeological discoveries in England reveal at least 2 significant winter camps. Unlike the small raiding crews of the past, these Viking groups consist of thousands, operating as formidable forces, not just seasonal raiders. These camps, though temporary, become bustling hubs of activity. Evidence of metal production and trade suggests a thriving community, adapting to the landscape. Metal detectors play a crucial role in uncovering these sites, revealing the Vikings' lasting impact on the region. As they settle in for the winter, the Vikings face challenges, but their resilience shines through. The Frankish Civil War not only reshapes the political landscape but also transforms Viking strategies, allowing them to thrive in unfamiliar territories for years, even decades. The legacy of these winter camps endures, showcasing the Vikings' ability to adapt and exploit opportunities in times of unrest, forever altering the course of history in Francia and England. Fragments of jewelry, shattered coins, and bits of silver bullion reveal a treasure trove of Viking activity. These remnants suggest a bustling trade network and significant loot processing at various sites. What's fascinating is the impact of these discoveries on understanding later settlements in England and the Carolingian Empire. If large Viking forces were indeed composed of diverse autonomous groups, they weren't just armies, they were mobile societies. Their camps may have laid the groundwork for future settlements, marking a pivotal moment in history. After Charlemagne's reign, civil war ravaged Francia, leaving coastal defenses vulnerable. This chaos opened the door for Scandinavian adventurers seeking gold, glory, and new opportunities. The 800s saw Vikings pushing deeper into Christian Francia, shifting tactics from raiding small monasteries to besieging major cities like Paris. Vikings often held cities hostage, demanding ransoms in gold and silver. Despite the turmoil in Francia, resistance grew stronger. The new Frankish emperor fortified defenses along the Seine, thwarting further Viking assaults on Paris. As Frankish defenses strengthened, Vikings turned their attention to the British Isles. Yet, their ambitions in Francia were far from over. Upon returning, they sought integration into Frankish society, willing to adapt and assimilate. By the end of the first Viking invasion, cities began erecting walls and fortifications, complicating Viking raids. Nevertheless, Viking fleets swelled as more adventurers joined the quest for wealth in Francia. When Frankish defenses became formidable, the Vikings shifted focus to England. However, by the late 9th century, they saw another opportunity to return to Francia, this time not merely to plunder but to become part of the European fabric. Thus, a new Dutch and Normandy emerged, transforming the Vikings from raiders into settlers. The question remains: how and why did the Vikings evolve into integral parts of European society? To understand the Normans, one must first delve into the Viking raids on Francia in the late 9th century. During the 880s, the Carolingians, under King Charles the Bald, began to reclaim their power. They fortified borders and pushed Viking raiders back to the sea. Charles, a grandson of Charlemagne, had often paid ransoms to these invaders, but his reign saw the development of stronger defenses, including cavalry and fortified bridges. Yet, the Vikings were still formidable. Their raids continued, extracting tribute and plunder from the Carolingians. While the Frankish resistance grew more organized, the Vikings launched another siege on Paris, demonstrating their relentless ambition. Despite setbacks, Viking groups remained successful, causing significant damage across the kingdom. This raises questions about Viking strategy. Were these raids part of a larger plan, or were they autonomous fleets with individual goals? After Charles the Bald's death in 877, Frankish coastal defenses weakened, allowing Vikings to increase their presence in Francia. This marked a new era, where looting evolved into a quest for integration. The Normans emerged from this complex tapestry of conflict and adaptation, shaping the future of Europe. The Vikings, known for their fierce raids and explorations, were also polytheistic, worshipping a pantheon of gods. This belief system thrived among all Germanic tribes in northern Europe until Christianity began to spread. The conversion of Vikings to Christianity was not merely a spiritual shift, it was a pragmatic decision influenced by trade and diplomacy. Viking leaders recognized the benefits of aligning with Christian kings, particularly the Carolingians and Anglo-Saxons. By accepting baptism, these leaders gained legitimacy, allowing them to integrate into the Christian diplomatic framework. Historical records reveal that many powerful Viking chieftains embraced Christianity during diplomatic encounters. This shift transformed them from outsiders to respected political figures within the Christianized landscape of Europe. The integration into this network opened new avenues for trade and alliances, reshaping the power dynamics of the time. For many Vikings, the idea of abandoning their ancestral beliefs was monumental. The pre-Christian faith was not a rigid doctrine but a fluid belief system, rich with gods, spirits, and supernatural beings. This worldview shaped their daily lives, fostering a deep connection to the natural and spiritual realms. Adopting a new faith meant welcoming a different set of deities and beliefs. For some, this transition was seamless, while for others, it posed a profound challenge. The Vikings' journey from polytheism to Christianity illustrates a complex interplay of faith, power, and survival in a rapidly changing world. As the Viking Age waned, the embrace of Christianity marked a significant cultural shift. The legacy of their polytheistic past intertwined with the new faith, creating a unique tapestry of beliefs that would influence generations to come. In the end, the Vikings' conversion was not just about religion, it was about navigating a world where alliances and legitimacy were paramount. Their story reflects the resilience and adaptability of a people who, despite their fierce reputation, were willing to evolve in the face of change. In the late 9th and early 10th centuries, Viking groups in Francia began converting from paganism to Christianity, integrating into Frankish society. This transformation wasn't as traumatic as it seems. It involved acknowledging and blending different beliefs rather than outright replacement. As Vikings learned the Frankish language, they evolved from outsiders to a significant power. For the Frankish emperor, maintaining diplomatic relations with these formidable leaders became crucial. In 911, Viking chief Rollo emerged as a key figure in this negotiation, receiving land in what is now Normandy. This agreement was strategic for the Franks, aiming to control Rollo and turn him into an ally. Rollo's role was pivotal. He became a protector of the Carolingian kingdom, safeguarding against potential invasions. Over time, Normandy expanded as more land was granted, creating a Scandinavian enclave that rapidly evolved. The Vikings adopted Christianity and shifted towards a Frankish lifestyle. Within a few years, Scandinavian languages faded, and Frankish customs emerged, marking a significant cultural transformation. Identifying a single reason for this acculturation is complex, but the blending of traditions and beliefs played a vital role in shaping the future of Normandy. In the evolving landscape of society, establishing roots requires a pragmatic approach. Integration is essential for peaceful coexistence. As communities come together, cultural exchanges flourish, creating a vibrant tapestry of ideas. This process, though complex, unfolds naturally over time, much like the transformation of Normandy in the 11th century. The reign of R, lasting until 928, marked a pivotal era. His legacy continued through his offspring, the Normans, who would shape history. The union of Gore, from a wealthy West Normandy family, and Richard I of Normandy stands out as a significant political marriage. Such unions strengthen ties between powerful families and across borders, fostering stability. These marriages not only solidified political alliances but also offered financial benefits. They provided opportunities for families to enhance their influence, paving the way for stable dynasties. The legitimacy of future rulers was often rooted in these unions, ensuring continuity in governance. Despite Christianity's impact on women's status, many gained power through strategic marriages. Women played crucial roles in politics and religion, even if historical texts often overshadow their contributions in favor of kings. Their influence shaped the political landscape, proving that their presence was vital, even if unrecognized. As societies evolve, the interplay of culture, politics, and gender continues to shape history. The story of Normandy illustrates how integration and collaboration can lead to a rich exchange of ideas, fostering a future where diverse voices contribute to a shared narrative. As dynastic politics evolve, women emerge as powerful figures, forging alliances through strategic marriages that strengthen political ties across borders. Their roles extend into the ecclesiastical hierarchy, where women from noble families enhance the relationship between secular rulers and the church, facilitating crucial connections. In this shifting landscape, women increasingly engage in political leadership, shaping alliances between influential families. The Vikings, seeking integration into Frankish culture, recognized the immense power that land ownership brings, far surpassing the value of gold. This integration leads to a blending of cultures in Normandy, creating both opportunities and tensions among royal houses. Marriages become vital in reconciling these tensions, yet they also spark sibling rivalries and family feuds over claims to the crown. This brewing conflict sets the stage for one of history's most famous battles. The saga of the Vikings, who first sailed to Francia in the late 8th century, continues as they prepare to cross the waters again in 1066. This time, it's a fierce power struggle for the English throne. Duke William of Normandy rises to claim his destiny, leading to a historic confrontation that will forever alter the course of England. The story of the Vikings is far from over. Their legacy and ambition will echo through the ages. In 1066, England faced a monumental power struggle following the death of Edward the Confessor. Duke William of Normandy, with familial ties to Edward, believed he had a rightful claim to the throne. Rumors suggested Edward promised William kingship, but Harald Godwinson, son of the powerful Earl of Wessex, also claimed the throne, having been named steward by Edward. Tensions escalated as Harald allegedly swore an oath of fealty to William while a hostage in Normandy. With two competing claims, William prepared for invasion. He constructed ships and gathered a formidable force of cavalry, archers, and infantry. As Harald was crowned king, William's resolve hardened. The iconic Battle of Hastings unfolded, where William's cavalry tactics, innovative for the time, played a crucial role. The tapestry depicting this clash emphasizes William's strategic advantage, ultimately leading to his conquest of England. William's determination and tactical prowess transformed the course of English history, marking the Normans as the conquerors who reshaped the nation forever. In the shadow of a new king, Harald Godwinson, England stands on the brink of chaos. The calm before the storm is palpable. As whispers of William of Normandy's ambitions grow louder, he assembles a formidable fleet, eyeing the English throne. Meanwhile, Harald Godwinson, aware of the impending invasion, positions his army in southern England, bracing for the inevitable clash. But the threat doesn't end with William. Far to the north, another contender emerges, King Harald Hardrada of Norway, with his own shaky claim to the throne. He, too, is gathering forces, aided by Tostig, Godwinson's exiled brother. As September wanes, Hardrada's invasion force lands in Yorkshire, aiming for York, the region's heart. Their goal? To secure a foothold for further conquest. On September 20th, just outside York at Fulford, they encounter two Anglo-Saxon earls and their troops, determined to thwart the invasion. The battle unfolds, and in a stunning turn, the Norwegians claim victory, forcing York to submit to Hardrada. With news of this defeat reaching Harald Godwinson, urgency grips him. He rallies his troops, launching a rapid march northward. The stage is set for a monumental confrontation, as England's fate hangs in the balance. The tension escalates, and the clash of kings looms ever closer. At Stamford Bridge, a fierce clash unfolds as Harald Godwinson's forces confront the Norwegians. This battle marks a pivotal moment in history. Harald Hardrada, the Norwegian king, meets his end, signaling the last Viking invasion of England. While this victory seems promising for Harald, news arrives that William the Conqueror has landed in the south. With his army fatigued and diminished from the northern battle, Harald must march southward, facing another formidable foe. Had Hardrada's invasion not occurred, the outcome at Hastings could have been drastically different. A fresh and stronger English army might have changed the course of history. William's meticulous preparations for his invasion are evident in the Bayeux Tapestry, showcasing the loading of armor and troops onto ships. His cavalry, a key element of his strategy, contrasts sharply with Harold's infantry-focused tactics. As the battle unfolds, the Normans employ innovative strategies, including the feigned retreat, luring English forces into traps. This tactic proves effective, gradually wearing down Harold's army throughout the day. The clash at Hastings, marked by these contrasting tactics, ultimately shapes the future of England. The Battle of Hastings reveals the innovative use of cavalry by the Normans, a tactic unseen by the English. While cavalry played a role, many factors influenced the outcome. The English, unfamiliar with mounted warfare, faced challenges as the Normans executed a strategic feigned retreat, leading to disarray among English ranks. Harold Godwinson's forces, exhausted from a recent battle at Stamford Bridge, marched south, impacting their readiness. This fatigue, combined with a lack of reinforcements, weakened their position. The battle was not a swift affair. It unfolded over a long day, where luck and discipline were crucial. William's psychological edge, fueled by his belief in his rightful claim to the English throne, motivated his troops. Ultimately, this conviction, alongside tactical innovations, paved the way for Norman victory. After the battle, William earned the title William the Conqueror, forever altering English history. The Bayeux Tapestry later immortalized these events, showcasing the dramatic clash that shaped a nation. In 1066, William the Conqueror became the ruler of England and Normandy. One of his first moves was distributing land to his barons, establishing the Norman aristocracy in England. However, rebellions arose, leading to the brutal campaign known as the Harrying of the North, showcasing William's willingness to use overwhelming force against opposition. William's multicultural heritage played a key role in his success. He utilized shallow draft ships to land soldiers, a tactic rooted in Viking tradition. His Frankish cavalry and archers proved effective, and he capitalized on the weakened state of England after the Battle of Stamford Bridge. After his death in 1087, his kingdom was divided between his sons, marking a significant shift in power. While some argue the Viking Age ended in 1066, the impact of Viking raids, trade, and colonization shaped Europe's political landscape, influencing modern society. The Vikings transformed the world, and their story is far from over. Like, subscribe, and share ideas in the comments.